This is Mindstrong Rock Climbing, written by Chris Boulder, and read for you by Tyler Kauffman. Chapter 6, Performance Visualization. I believe the really addictive and compelling thing in climbing is hitting the flow state. I've been there in other things like running and martial arts, but that's nothing compared to being there way off the ground on a sea of granite. I'd even dare to say that it's the best reason to climb. Bit outrageous, right? But really, question any serious climber, and I think you'll get the same answer. My first experience of this state, I was completely unaware of what it was, and was just knowing there were times when it all came together. To be frank, that's all I needed to know. But I grew up and found out more, and that it was actually a thing. And now, flow state is its own conversation. I just remember a sort of clearer focus existing at the same time as an expanded awareness, like two parts of my brain that usually only happen individually were working at once. Movements and holds were made without any concern for failing. Each step in a sequence made sense. And things like gear and exposure were not tainted by stress. It was really obvious this is what it should all be about. Now, those times weren't all the time, maybe touching it once on each outing, sometimes for just a few seconds, and sometimes for days at a time. As rock climbing became alpinism, I got to see how a flow state could last much longer and included others, making whole ascents almost dreamlike. Then there were the times when nothing happened, and it all felt stupid and clunky, which were the times when I analyzed why a flow state happens at all. Everyone else knew about it, some climbers having found out a lot more than I could, and commonly accepted ideas had sprung up as ways to engineer how to have some control with it. This flow state thing is not at all random or esoteric. It is a sort of inner game you can get better at. It's made up of your brain processing information at a higher rate across more bandwidth of input channels, which, to me, is exactly how it feels. Positive elements for climbing get switched on, and negative stuff gets tuned out. So, the brain you are climbing with is basically a climbing brain, not some flatlanders that's all strung out with stuff that won't help. I'm going to go one step further and say that the character types more adept at experiencing this are often attracted to climbing. Big call? I don't think so, because, like any faculty, your head takes you where you will probably use it. Good climbers hit this state, then do things that will increase the chance of hitting it again. And from that, we get to build up a body of knowledge about what the flow state is and how it works. The flow state. Climbers will tell you all about the flow state like it's some kind of religious experience, and even though it's an ideal state to be in for climbing, there's nothing mystical or hard to grasp about it. I've experienced this state countless times, as have most people one way or another. But it's really worth pursuing in the context of climbing because it brings together many of climbing's unique elements. Firstly, flow state is cliché now, so it needs a better description. Effectively, it's the name for a state of total absorption in what you're doing. This covers immersion in the act of climbing, not being conflicted by stuff like anxiety, indecision, being hurried, or being distracted. An even cornier name is The Zone, a popular label decades ago before much research had gone into it. But nevertheless, it gives the idea that this is something that can be entered into if you have the right ingredients. Ask around and you'll hear all sorts of claims about this state. Most are dubious at best, but a few elements have the support of research and cross-referencing with other aspects of psychology. What makes up the core
Sample complete. Ready to continue?